So still connected to Scorpionic energies. Did I say hi? Lori Lothian? Yeah, I did. And I did bring your attention just gently to the beautiful Sabian symbol of a golden-haired goddess of opportunity. Now, there's two takes on that. So what are you guys going to do with that hot mess, right? Watch out for false prosperity and growth that you're being sold. The leader of Israel has his ascendant right on the star that is being activated. Welcome to the conversation about the Sagittarius lunation coming up on exactly 9 degrees of Sagittarius, where we have a powerful royal star, Antares. This lunation happens on May the 31st. In today's hour-long video, we're going to overview some of the big picture world stories that may occur, and I'm going to very lightly touch on where you might have a golden-haired goddess of opportunity activating your Sagittarius whole sign house, because that is the very powerful and quite positive Sabian symbol that is upon us at this moon. We have asteroids Apollonia, Pan, for pandemic, Wuhan activated during the sky as well. Sorry, guys. And as well, we also can see some other more positive asteroids like Makemake being mixed up into this story. So this moon is full, it's bright on a powerful, powerful star, and we're going to dive into what it might mean for the world. I do not think that this is all a negative story at all. But I do think that in the world complex of events, there may be some interesting developments, both with war. Antares is about war. It is one of the war stars. It is the heart of the Scorpion. It is the rival of Mars because he has a red cast like Mars. And so it's associated with war energy. But Antares has more than just war meanings. So we're going to dive into some of the glory and power and fleeting wealth and power and fame that Antares can bring you. I have Antares on my midheaven exactamente. So I've been living with this star all of my life. All right. So welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Lori Lothian. This is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. Fixed stars and minor asteroids are always in my game wheelhouse. We'll be talking about, of course, a few of those stories today, particularly Antares, and a retrospective of Algol that was activated on the Taurus new moon, May 16th. Because we're still feeling the impact of that by the time you watch this video. I'm recording on Tuesday, May the 12th for you. I don't know what will happen by the time we get to this moon, but I'm going to try to drop this video out on the weekend. I don't know. I don't know what date the weekend will put me at, but let's go 12. I don't know. 17th of the month or something. All right. So let's get rolling. Let's get started. Let me share some thoughts and concerns. Let me talk about the sky and then show you the sky. No, Antares is a royal watcher star. It's one of those stars that was considered a navigational star back in the day when people were plying the seas with their sailboats doing trade and adventure. And so it is one of the stars that was used for people in navigation. And Antares, the royal Persian star, is also called the royal watcher. And this star is one of those stars where it activates a huge amount of prosperity in the ancient world. Egyptians actually called it a prosperity star. And they had a name for it. It was called Kakshia. And I probably said that wrong since I don't speak ancient Egyptian. But it can bring athletic abilities, military prowess. It can bring the ability to hone your talents, to develop skill and courage in life. And it's also about glory and power and wealth that is fleeting. It can bring also poison because it is the heart of the scorpion in the tail of the constellation of the scorpion. Scorpio is the heart. I know it's Sagittarius, but we're using Western Tropical Zodiac. It's still lined up with a star that represents the heart of the scorpion. And of course, scorpion is a poison, right? Because it's got a tail that stings you. And Shala is actually the star at 23 Sagittarius. It is the tail stinger, but this is the heart of the scorpion. So it's still connected to scorpionic energies, and it can invite death from weapons of war. Okay. So I'm then lying to you. It's got a side to it, right? Now, is it any surprise? Is it any surprise that the prime minister of Israel has his ascendant at 9 degrees of Sagittarius? Glory, power, fleeting wealth, and honors. Poison star, death from weapons of war. Now that's his ascendant, that's his body, and that means he's always at peril with his ascendant on that star from unaliving by weapons of war. So I bet at some time that will happen in his reality. Can't come too soon, if you ask me. Anyway, but wishing all human beings love and kindness. So we're going to talk about what this could bring to the world. It definitely has some treachery, feuds, and disagreements energy embedded within it. So what can you do? But also the star, it is a star that's accompanied by other elements in the sky, not just this story. And I did bring your attention just gently to the beautiful Sabian symbol of a golden-haired goddess of opportunity. Now, there's two takes on that. Dane Rujar thinks it's also about the concept of success and opportunity and growth at the expense of like the more deeper soul level content. So from my vintage Dane Rujar book, I'll read you a little of his take on this star. It's vintage 70s and it's falling apart. Oh, got it at a estate sale. And it says, he says, sorry about that, book on my lap. He says, so it's a 9 Sagittarius Sabian symbol. We round the Sabian symbol up by 1 degree and read for 10. This is the same for Netanyahou, right? His ascendant, we would read for 10 Sagittarius. So it's a theatrical representation, according to Dane Rujar, of a golden-haired goddess of opportunity. Keynote, society's efforts at dramatizing the greatness of what it offers to the ambitious person. Civilization as a process demands the goading of individuals to spend their vital energies in the pursuit of achievements, which, while fulfilling the individual's ambition and greed, nonetheless generate various forms of what we call so-called progress, in quotes. This sequence of symbols mainly refers to the drive for advancement along with human, all too human passive growth. This is the last symbol of the 50th fold sequence or whatever we see in how socio-cultural forces operate by dramatization and propaganda. Can I say propaganda again? The result is too often a process of forced growth. So the dark side of the golden-haired goddess of opportunity is like the propaganda machine. They call it Hasbara, all right, in the country of Ai in the Middle East, the little very wasp-like country. And if you want to think about that, you know, the idea of doing propaganda as a way of being, if you were born with that star on your ascendant, right, on your character in the simulation, that would be how you would operate. Also, the Happier book by another particular lovely person, The Sabian Symbols, A Screen of Prophecy by Diana E. Roche. I left it in the rain once in Montreal, and this is now without a cover, but oh well. A golden-haired goddess of opportunity, a keyword reward. And then it talks about the accent as being in the right place at the right time. Lucky plays an important part of this. You're at greatest advantage lies in putting forth effort to reap the benefits of opportunities that you're given. Continue on the course you know is right for you. And keywords, good fortune, luck, reward, benefit, protection, prosperity, remuneration, restitution, compensation, and reimbursement. All right. So what are you guys going to do with that hot mess, right? There's a bit of both things. It's a bit of a hot mess of like, watch out for false prosperity and growth that you're being sold, like that you get the Maserati and you're happy. And like, I'm born with this on my career point, and I've learned so much because of this. I've learned where all the golden-haired goddess of opportunity, reward, prosperity, and growth has a cost, right? You had to find stuff that's really true to your heart, and it really sits with who you are, where you are. It reminds me when I almost got a job years ago working for one of the tobacco companies in Manhattan in the PR department. Well, give me a big tobacco company in the comments. I can't remember the names of these big tobacco companies. Anyway, I didn't get it or I didn't take it. I can't remember which, because I felt at conflict with the tobacco industry and my moral imperative, right? But with my midheaven where it is, I could easily have just gone for the money, right? Or gone for the success and glory, but not at what expense. So all of us today will have 1/12 pie-sliced piece of real estate in your whole sign house sky that delineates this particular story. Did I say hi? Lori Lothian? Yeah, I did. Go down below and check my Meanings of the 12 Houses free PDF download and How to Cast Your Chart in Whole Sign Houses free video tutorial and find your rising sign. Because from that perspective, one of these 12 pie slices of the zodiac, 30 degrees each, represents where the star sits in your sky. Stars don't move more than a degree every 70 years. People always in the comments, talk about, oh, I've got the star here. I go, well, everyone's got the star here. For the last 70 years, the star has been sitting at 9 degrees of Sag. So all I'm trying to say is that the stars are not even moving. The Earth is wobbling. And so we see the star from a different angle, and it looks like it moved a degree in our calculations. Okay. So the stars aren't orbiting the Earth, right? They're just out there with their own planets orbiting them. So from our perspective here on Earth, it sits currently in the Western tropical zodiac at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, more or less 9-10 degrees. It's interesting to me that we are all coming into a time where I'm biting my nails. You know, you're biting your nails about what's going on in the world regarding the word war. And I can't imagine that the new moon, full moon on a war star is going to be opening up doors of peace. I could be wrong. I would like to be wrong. I could be wrong. I would like to be wrong. But we shall see, especially given that the leader of Israel has his ascendant right on the star that is being activated. Well, his midheaven is on Hephaestus, the guy who made the war and the weapons of war for Zeus. So iron swords, anyone? Thunderbolts. So let me show you the sky and talk about some of the minor asteroids involved, including Varuna and Makemake, which are more positive. I'm going to backtrack us a bit to some world events that have probably happened already. This is Tuesday, May 12th that I'm recording. I'm going to touch on your all signs content very lightly with a simple message. Golden hair goddess of opportunity, look this way. And I'm going to tie it into a couple of the asteroids. I will be doing a follow-up video on this closer to the actual 31st of May when we have the lunation, but this is my preview video. And so let's go ahead and let me share what I see here for you guys. And if you like this kind of content and you're not subscribed, please do. Hype, share, like, subscribe. Check that you're still subscribed. I see everybody, including Diary of a CEO guy, telling people that you've probably been unsubscribed. Go check it out. Remember, it's true. YouTube is mass unsubscribing people all the time. I just don't think it's intentionally done. I think it's some kind of bot. You know what I mean? Robot thing. I'm not a bot, but like a algorithmic scouring of people who haven't watched the channel for a while. They kind of take them out. So although regular viewers have been unsubscribed as well. So here we have it. This is the sky, and you'll notice I got it queued for Aries at this point, but this is the moon. Now, just trust me. I'll have to take my word that the star is right up here, right? 9 or 10 degrees. It's an orb. Antares is an orb of the moon. I didn't draw it in, but it's there. This is a very important asteroid called Apollonia. Why is it important? Well, first of all, it's any of the cities named after the god Apollo. So it's a feminine version of Apollo, the sun god. Now, Apollonia is connected to cities that are connected to Apollo. Now, typically, of course, Apollo, you would look to the Greek cities or parts of Greece, but we're not thinking about that. We're talking about Apollonian places in the world where sun gods rule. Okay, so what's a sun god? In our modern day, maybe a religious leader, because the sun represents not only king and leader, but also can connect to Sagittarius ninth house, house of joy. So maybe leaders in religious contexts in cities of those leaders and where they live. That's a possibility, Apollonia. Now, this asteroid is moving through the sky and it's on the moon, on the full moon, right, at 9 degrees and 55 minutes. And that's a 19. That's 10 and 9. And what's 19 in the tarot? Anyone know? Come on, let me know in the comments. The 19th tarot card of the major arcana is the sun. So we have the 19th degree, 10, 5 minutes, 9, right? We add it up. Okay, so it is the sun in the tarot, Apollonia, a town that belongs to the sun god Apollo. And we also have the 9th degree on a war star. What about this? This is Apollo at 11 degrees. Who is Apollo? The sun god. Now, sun god Apollo is a bit of a messiah, martyr, kind of a Jesus archetype. Jesus was modeled after Apollo, but there's another part of Apollo, the god of prophecy and the god of medicine and healing. He was also known to shoot his arrow to invite in plagues. He could remedy a plague, or he could shoot a poison arrow into the world, you know, the heart of the scorpion, and he could cause a plague. Well, we don't call them plagues anymore. And he did that to punish humans for their hubris and, you know, nasty humans. Here's a plague, right? So if Apollo can bring both plagues, and Apollo can also bring healing and recovery from, what are we going to do with that? Because as I'm recording this with you today, I'm getting all the kerfuffle about the hantavirus and Hondius. And of all things, the asteroid Hondius, which exists, was traveling over the star Algol, rotting bodies and corpses, anybody, at the time that on March 29th, that vessel that had the outbreak set sail. Now, you can't make that stuff up. You really can't make that stuff up. That means the asteroid Hondius is now traveling beyond the Algol star. And by this time, this chart comes up, if I remember correctly without changing software, because I don't have that asteroid in my software, I used astro.com, that asteroid Hondius has moved out of the Algol territory and has moved into the sign of air, Gemini. This is concerning because we also see this little guy, Pan. Now, Pan can be pandemic, pandemonium, the green man of the forest. He can be pan anything, right? Panic, pandemonium, and pandemic. Go for the pan word. During the COVID thing, Pan, Asteroid, and Apollo were both highly active. Now, is this good or is this bad? I don't think this should be a thing because it's, not normally highly transmissible in an airborne way compared to other things we've all dealt with. So I'm not sure it really is a problem, but Neptune rules things that are hard to see, like viruses. He's sextiling Pan. We can also see that Pan is connected over here to Apollo and this combination. And this is Wuhan. What are you to do with that, guys? This is Wuhan. So asteroid Wuhan was sitting with Jupiter on the Algol infused May 16th new moon. I don't know what to say. It's like, okay. So Jupiter expands what it touches, blows it out of proportion in exaltation in Cancer, a sign of water, a water-borne like sailing ship or expedition vessel leaving the South Americas, ended up getting a bunch of people on board. Maybe the Dutch couple started it and they had been exposed to the virus. The old bird watching in the dump story, landfill, is not true. That they found out that the time that the bird watching in the landfill happened for the Dutch couple on board was way too far back for it to be the onset or the way they contracted airborne particles of rodent feces. So it's just an interesting vibe to see all of these asteroids here. I don't know that it is a problem because we do see the flow here. Right between all of this. This is a fire trine, the nature of Jupiter, which is intended to bring something good. And it also trines Neptune. So it could be a soothing of the anxiety or the de-escalation of people's panic. Unless it's been tampered with in a lab, it's not likely to be a widespread problem. Okay, but we'll keep our eye on it for sure. This over here, this is a really sweet one, Makemake, the Easter Island people's god of creation. It's about doing something for your own tribe. It's about aligning yourself with a vision that's for the greater good if you can. It's a positive energy, and it does sextile from Libra, the scales of justice and commerce, the lunation. With a war star, I'd say that's justice, fairness, right? Deals and contracts, maybe even ruled by Venus, peace treaties being foisted into the scene or de-escalation of war. Right now, there's a stalemate, but gas and oil prices, fertilizer, helium, all these things that go through the Strait of Hormuz are at risk of the pipeline has slowed. Well, even if the war stopped today, there's still repercussions that will unfold over time. So it's not good, but maybe this is a solution. Maybe it's a solution. And over here with Pluto and Aquarius, we have Amycus. Now, where Pluto sits is with the moon and ascendant of China. So there's a strong possibility because Donald Trump will be going to see Xi Jinping sometime after I record this on May the 12th, that there's something coming off of that meeting that will be now very active, hopefully in a positive way. China, United States. Why United States? United States is Sagittarius rising 12-degree nation. Pretty close, by the way, to the same war star that is sitting on Netanyahu's ascendant. So, yeah, no daylight between us, right? That's ironclad because Netanyahu's 9-degree ascendant is smack dab within 3 degrees of the ascendant of the USA. So who really is the United States leader? That's sometimes what people ask themselves. What is Amycus? Well, Amycus is a difficult story, so I'll read it to you. Alrighty, it's the first centaur to engage in battle with the lapis. So there's two species on Earth, lapis and centaurs. Centaurs half man, half horse. And this guy Amycus grabbed a sacred candelabra, candle holder, sacred candle holder. Suddenly I'm seeing a menorah from a shrine and used it as a weapon and was killed by another Lapithian. All right. Well, he's not a Lapithian, is he? Amycus is a centaur killed by a Lapithian as he grabbed a sacred candle holder and he was going to use it as a weapon. And it's all about, according to the software, finding an anomaly in the system, maybe because that's not a weapon, it's a candle holder, using it against the system, striving for power that can lead to being taken over by power and lust, or power lust, striving for power, being taken over by power lust. On the other hand, using something that's not a weapon as a weapon, right? So there's other kinds of weapons than lobbing missiles at each other. What kind of weapon could China use that's not a traditional weapon? What is the sacred candle holder? Sanctions? Threats? But not outright violence? Because, I mean, if anything, China stands to lose. Part of the BRICS nations that Iran and Russia and Brazil and China are part of with this problem in Iran. So there is a possibility that there's a lot of Chinese pressure to use diplomacy or threats or sanctions or whatever means China can. We're not going to send any Apple iPhones over anymore. Too bad. We'll take the hit unless you straighten out the rogue state in the Middle East who keeps wanting to continue the war and has vowed to continue the war, even if Donald Trump was to come up with a peace plan. So what are you going to do, right? So China's going to try to intervene, maybe. The nation of Iran has its midheaven, its high noon. It's a part that represents its political leadership and leaders at 10 degrees of Taurus in the revolution chart of 1979. 10 degrees of Taurus is here, where Mars is sitting. Now, Mars cutting, ending, severing, could either mean that there's difficulty for that leader, square Pluto, right? Amycus, candle holder used as a weapon. What could that mean? You know, what is the weapon that's not really a weapon that's coming straight at, you know, the leader or the top dogs in Iran? And so that might not be good. This is coming off the new moon, so you might feel it 2 or 3 days around the moon and directly after May 31st. Is someone trying to decapitate or take out that leader here? I doubt that it would be China. I don't think so. But this is just the archetype here, right? The nation of I in the Middle East, Israel. I don't want to be demonetized. That country is a Libra rising, right here, okay? Doing something for one's tribe, Easter Island. Well, the tribe of Zionism is very, very poisonous, if you ask me, the current version in the Middle East. And so if you look at that, relative to this, open enemies, yeah, house of death for Israel. It's possible that even it's not that, it's a leadership of Iran doing a Martian Taurian thing. And with Venus and Jupiter coming together here and working that angle, maybe the leadership is going to try in Iran to do some kind of diplomacy and using China as an ally. These are thoughts, I'm not sure, but I do wonder and I do worry, and I wonder and I wonder and I worry. My biggest worry has been for the last month or two that there's only one country in the world that has weapons of mass destruction who would actually use them. And that country is not Iran. It's the other I nation with the ending letter L in the Middle East. And my only concern is any of this could be that kind of energy. Concern, not knowing, not for sure. And last but not least, before we go ahead and do a light touch on your sign, I want you to notice that this is the north and south node of fate. That's the seas, right? This is Pisces. And of course, the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea and the seas of the Middle East area, including the Mediterranean, have been extremely pulverized with war and difficulty in the last year and a half, 2 years. And the North Node's been here for 18 months almost. So this North Node, Rahu, it can be malefic, and it is stretching out intensity in places of oceans and seas. But it's also with the South Node in Virgo. This is the public reputation of Netanyahu and his midheaven and his illnesses with his hospital visits have been attending Virgo eclipses connected to the South Node for the last year and a half. And he's been in the hospital for many things, but now he's been diagnosed with prostate cancer. But what I'm trying to point at, what I'm really trying to point at, is these nodes are being bent by the moon. The moon is bending the nodes of fate and reflecting the light of the sun on the asteroid Pan. Panic, pandemonium, pandemic. What is Pan doing here? And the node of fate in the sign of health. Virgo is health. And that's loss of health. So that's difficult. And we had an eclipse here back in September. I remember the degree. Could have been 29 degrees. No, 29 degrees. Could have been 9 or 10 degrees of Virgo. So that solar eclipse on the South Node in a sign for the world of health, letting go, releasing, surrendering, loss, sign, health. And then the stupid darn Pan energy on the sun being reflected by the moon on the poisoning star and the war star and the heart of the scorpion. You know, Scorpion energy, like archetypally, is stealth, right? Secret stealth. 3-letter agencies and stuff. I have a theory about this hantavirus, and I'm only going to put it in my members only content. And I'm going to put that members only content out on Monday after my week ahead video. Okay. But I do have something I want to talk about in terms of the onset and where this virus came from, how it got on a ship and why it's there. All right. Yeah. Conspiracy theory style, folks. That's me. And it doesn't help that there's Saturn in a condition of its fall, sitting on the sun of Iran at 11 degrees of Aries. And this is on the midheaven in the 10th house. Very difficult time for Iran here. They've lost Mars. Mars was with them April the 9th through until May the 19th in their sign, giving them the upper hand, the leverage, and more power in the war. Then they lose the Mars on the sun, which is the rulership, leaders, and the power center of the nation, the heart of the nation. So this is concerning, but what takes them down? What causes it? Pluto, plutonium, Uranus, uranium. Not good, guys. Scary stuff going on here, if you ask me. This is Netanyahu here, and America. So across the way are the open enemies of USA and Netanyahu. Would these guys do something like throw into the monkey wrench uranium type energy or pandemic type energy? And why would they, right? Is that diversion or distraction? And then we also have to go over here and look at this Saturn on the sun of Iran, this Mars on the MC of Iran. Any thoughts about that in the world astrology type stuff, guys? Let me know. Love to hear your thoughts. Let's go ahead and just very lightly and very briefly touch gently upon each sign. And my intention in the all signs portion is just to lightly go into the idea of there is still a golden haired goddess of opportunity up here. And it's not the first time we've had a lunation, new or full, up there on 9-10 degrees of Sag with the golden haired goddess of opportunity being awakened. So it does bring that, as long as you're not stretched out into this sort of propaganda machine about what opportunity and true success mean for you, with the wealth star and wealth and power and fleeting fame, as well as military stuff, and Taurus really up there as well. That combination is to say, find your truth about what is your own golden idea of opportunity, and where you're not following what is the process societal bullshit of how you're supposed to find your golden opportunities. Okay. Like it isn't really that rewarding once you get all the money and you get all the fancy cars and all of that. Sure. Yeah. It's not terrible. You're not sitting in a tent city because your whole country has been turned to a parking lot. So it's better than that. But I will say that the race to succeed in the game of the matrix, right? Fame, glory, power, and riches is a shallow and soul-sucking endeavor. And because Dane Rujar does talk about that, I'm going to say, when we do your sign, where do you find the true version of what it is that will bring you that light of intrinsic joy and satisfaction, and where can it lead you to lead? Now, when Apollo isn't acting like, the giver and taker of plagues, right? Apollo can also do something better for you. He's working with a Varuna, and Varuna is a powerful god of creation, the Hindu god of the oceans, but it's also about reverence for a higher power. So what you would like to be remembered for as a legacy. It's the urge you have to do something important that people will remember you for. And it can bring an urge for a kind of divine or celestial law and order that's even more perfect than humanity's, right? The divine order of things. So we're going to talk about Apollo and Varuna in connection with the sun god. I mean, the opportunity. Of course, Apollonia is there as well. And I'm going to simplify that to that simple story today in a very fast moving all signs. Okay. It's not long today. This is a touch point preview video of what's coming. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. You are looking at your ninth house of God being a wide awake by this Apollonia and Antares energy and the golden-haired goddess of opportunity, asking you to look at what is your dharmic purpose and meaning of life. Where are you supposed to follow your true North Star and reach for the most significant contribution for your soul being here on earth that you can possibly maximize? This is a house that is aligned with spiritual philosophy and truth and knowledge and wisdom. And in that regard, as you're searching for that keen understanding, the golden-haired goddess of opportunity coming off the May 31st lunation, reflecting back Mercury of all people, the messenger of the gods down in your third house of writing, communicating, and ideas that come in a bolt of lightning. Uranus. I think this lunation will deliver a bolt of understanding, a bolt of lightning, be an insight into what it is you're here to contribute to. And at a practical note, it could light you up to write a book or publish a book in this kind of story, but also to lean fully into purpose, 100% into it's got to be meaningful. It's got to be aligned with purpose, or I'm not even bothering. And if your Aries sun, moon, and rising is close to 9 degrees, let's go 6 to 12, then you're really into this. It's really meaningful to you. Your sun is your true purpose because it's your true self and it's career, right? Career related. And then your rising sign is the character in the simulation aligning with the true purpose. And then your moon is your emotions and how you feel and think about life being aligned with true purpose. Okay, that's the vibe. Okay. Now, I think that you are looking at Apollo and Varuna down here, and it looks like what they're trying to do, because they're flowing in a beautiful trine to this moon, I wonder if there's a muse that's trying to reach you. You know what a muse, like the Greek muses, they have inspiration and ideas for artists and writers and performers and musicians, and even scientists have a muse. So there's like a muse-driven fifth house inspiration. So you could be creative and enjoy life and inspired by life and filled with spirit. And this is your natural talents and gifts you were born to express. Just so you know, Apollo is a god of prophecy as well as medicine and healing. And so are any of those things resonating? Are you wanting to be more prophetic, or are you resonating with being a medicine or healing type individual? But more importantly, the fifth house itself is generating a current of living into your abilities, your talents, and your gifts that you were born with in a dharmic and meaningful way. And so there's a turning point. The house of good fortune is a house of good fortune, right? And so good fortune is coming your way in lucky, lucky ways. You could get international exposure, for example, international opportunities with that ninth house. And because the nodes are being bent, particularly the south node, there's destined circumstances connected to livelihood, work, and service that you're wanting to bring into the sight of the world at a full moon light. You might want to be a teacher, a guru, a guide, a mentor for others. That's the ninth house. But you're pulling on past life, sacred wisdom and duty, like the priestess and priest within you from that sixth house, to open up the doors of the house of God and goddess, if you want, but it's really the ninth house, the house of God, right? So yeah, I love it. Some of you it's like a massive recalibration towards purpose and meaning. And with the sun ruling that fifth house, conjunct Uranus, there's sudden, fast-moving enlightenment energy coming through your chart here. I mean, ahas, divine downloads, insights, revelations. Pay attention to your dreams at night. Mercury is the dream messenger around the May 31st moon. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. So the golden-haired goddess of opportunity sits on the midheaven. Sits on 9 degrees of Sagittarius with a star Antares. What is it you're here to do that you're excited by because you feel excited by opportunity? But it also connects you to the 8th house matters. And there's something about the 8th house for the spiritual questers in you that it can open up a spiritual awakening. There is a trine from Saturn to the moon at 9 degrees. And so there can be a turning point around addiction, self-undoing, bad habits and patterns. And there can be a spiritual awakening into a deeper level of depth of self-knowledge and letting go of your egoic structures that block you, as well as your addictions, bad habits, patterns. It's hot in here. All right. Now I've got wind on my microphone. Damn it. Let's hold my hand. I don't have a wind shield here. Hopefully this is not too much wind. All right. So then you kind of look at the Apollo story in the 4th house, and I want you to think ancestral roots, childhood, domicile, and home. There's nothing like a sun god with Varuna down there, Varuna, who's telling you that there's a higher reverence and a higher power, but you want to leave a legacy. Do you know that the legacy energy comes off the 4th house? So your legacy that you're going to leave behind when you die, your 4th house is your death house, guys. Trust me. Then you're really thinking legacy, guys. You Tauruses are like wondering about it. But on a practical note, I'm going to tell you there can be some inheritance money here. Just because there's a full light in the 8th house of chunky money is connected to an elder Saturn in the house of hospitals. To put it bluntly, an elder ailing, fragile, maybe cognitively declining masculine energy and is potentially opening up some opportunity for you to come into some financial family money. Now, every time we have a new moon, full moon, they take about 6 months to fully unravel. So don't think about it as just what's going to happen, on the moon. But around the moon and 2 weeks after, you might have some knowledge that you're going to come into some family money of some sort. Possibly as well, you're looking at the idea of wanting to, with your home, with where you live, make some significant changes over the course of the 2 weeks that follow the moon. And yet you're leaning into, with a golden-haired goddess of opportunity, potentially a real opportunity of some sort that connects you to finances, like a bank loan, a mortgage, some kind of financial situation that lights up your chart and allows for a move or a purchase or a sale of some kind of property. And with this lunation, bending the fates, bending the nodes, well, that's not too bad, right? Because the nodes of fate, they're connected to your 5th house of good fortune and your 9th house, 11th house of good spirit. So they're bending positive parts of the chart. You could feel like you came into a bit of a windfall because of the connection to the south node, north node, and you're pulling on past life and past life situations and good fortune you created in other lives. We live more than one life, guys. So there you go. Watch out for fertility and pregnancy. If you're a female, this could bring a pregnancy that you weren't expecting. And it will be, if it does happen, kind of destined and fated. You couldn't probably stop it with if you tried. I want to tell you that, trying to keep the wind off the mic. But I do think that you could come into a pregnancy situation that you're not planning if you are a female. All right, just trust me on that one. Because that's what it looks like to me. I kind of like you getting your hands on some more money off of this moon. I don't know where the more money comes from, but you're getting yourself a little bit of money in your pocket here and wallet, but it comes from someone else's money coming your way. It's not your own. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. I need to get in a way that I don't look like I'm trying to hide from you guys, but I'm trying to keep the wind off the mic. But it's so hot in here. I'm moving to a place, that has air conditioning and doesn't live between a fire station and a hospital where I am inundated continually with sirens. All right, that's better. At least I'm not hiding. I'm trying to hide behind a wall of my fireplace. All right. That's what I've got. like now moving on to Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Of course, you've got the sun in your sign. Sometimes it burns us out. Like I have a progressed sun in Gemini. So be careful here, especially rising sign, that, the sun will be here. And as it always is, this is Gemini season for a month, third week of May to third week of June. So sometimes it can feel like you're for rising signs a little bit under the Klieg lights, so to speak. But that's aside. You've got the Uranian energy in your system, like Kundalini activation, enervation, nervous system stimulation. So take care of yourself. A lot of magnesium would be good, etc. And don't panic, because pandemonium and panic is right there with you, right? You could be just panicking about being alive. So, whatever, just take care of yourself is what I'm saying. Now, that all aside, the full moon is in the house of long-term committed love, business partners, and sometimes how you approach your audience and marketplace. Golden-haired goddess of opportunity is telling you, approach love with golden-haired opportunities and don't be afraid of it. Apollonia, the goddess energy, the feminine version of Apollo, the sun god, is really beautifully placed there. I don't know if it's going to mean that you're going to fall in love with someone who's got a very big radiance in their life, or you're going to commit to that love story, but anything is possible in this sky, especially with one of the asteroids hooked up here in the house of romantic love. This little baby down here, Makemake, sort of the creation god doing things for one's tribe and stuff like that. You could be creative. This is like fertility, babies, like the creation energy. What do you want to create for an audience that is a big full light for your audience, and you want to push it into the marketplace? Okay, that's possible. What kind of love and romance do you wish to create? Are you moving? The South Node is in your fourth house. Quite often that means a letting go, releasing of a current home. Over the last 18 months, you might have been doing that or thinking of it. It could even begun as a consideration in September of 24, and this will wind itself down by this August, the idea of relocation. So if you've been thinking of as a Gemini to relocate any time since fall of 24 to say fall of this year, this energy is still propelling you, and it could be relocating because of marriage and marriage partnership stories, or moving and then becoming available for a very powerful and very co-creative love story. So single Geminis looking for love, you could get your love story on sometime from May 31st on that lunation all the way until, 6 months later. And what about the idea that the actual sun god Apollo is in your third house? Well, where can you show where can you be like a bright light shining in the world with like sun god energy? Right? That's what that is. And this is leaving a legacy. And this is a house of writing, teaching, communicating, marketing, selling. Those are the things, skills-based learning and teaching, and leaving a legacy as you push something into the audience. This could also be moving to a new town, city, or other part of your own country, this combination. And then this could open up new doors of long-term committed love and romance. So for you singletons, that could be that as well. And look to siblings to be a part of the good stuff that brings opportunity to you as a general principle under this kind of a sky. So siblings can be very positive in this sky. There's no doubt about it. Being or friends. This is friends. And this is also your social media. This is local friends. This is your social media landscape too. Look at the sun god lighting up that legacy energy with Varuna. And you're moving into some kind of social media incredible potency as golden hair opportunities arise. Look for females to bring you golden haired opportunities, golden haired goddesses of opportunities, females, moon figures to come in and light you up and propel you to greater career success in your 10th house north node. All right. Near the moon and in the 2 weeks that follow and up to 6 months after. All right, Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign are touch point on the Sagittarius golden-haired goddess of opportunity moon. It is happening on Antares in the 6th house of what? It's in your 6th house of work, job, service, sometimes pets, debts, rentals. And you've got this flourishing big opportunity moon with a star that can bring wealth and success and fleeting fame as well. So that all touch points into the house of livelihood, work, job. It does flow to Saturn in your 10th house. So there may be some kind of elevation of career and work success that's being offered to you opportunity-wise off of this moon. tending also to the idea that Apollo himself, the sun god after which Apollonia is named, happens to be in your second house of earnings, money, resources, and of course, legacy, energy, and Varuna, the Hindu god of the oceans. So what is it you wish to, make money doing that you feel has a long game legacy invitation for you? And you could be seen, by the way, as an expert authority or master at it. That's what happens when Saturn's up there. And be patient, because Saturn is patience and perseverance, but he's impetuously Aries, and he has to catch his breath here and say, deep breathe, everything's happening in perfect timing. All right, that's your new mantra. Mantra. What is this for? What are you doing with this? What are you doing down here? So there's Makemake, the creation god of the Tonga people of Easter Island. What is it you want to do for your tribe in and from your home? What do you want to do for your legacy connected to your parents, your ancestral line, the people that grew up with you in the same household? There's something good happening. This is the house of siblings, and it is with the South Node here and the moon kind of bending it. It kind of looks like you might be connecting to siblings in an important way, especially a sibling one younger than you right here. And, possibly there may be some news, but don't panic, of a health challenge for a sibling one younger than you. And it might be inviting you to step in to do something to work as a healer around that, because of course, Apollo is a healer archetype, god of medicine. And if a sibling one younger is in a health challenge, then you might be stepping in off this moon to be of great assistance. Leo, sun, moon, and rising touch point on this shorter video, talking about the Antares wealth and fleeting fame, success, opportunity, golden-haired goddess, Sabian symbol, full moon, happening on the 31st of May in your house of good fortune. Now, the house of good fortune is a house of good fortune. So it's a good house, and it's a good house to have anything happen in, let alone the star Antares and the Sabian of golden-haired opportunity goddess. So it's very lucky already. It smacks of lady luck. And then Leo, the lady luck vibe, is also connecting very strongly to the archetype of the sun god Apollo. Apollo is you. You are acting like a sun god. How are you a sun god? Right? Especially if your sun, moon, and rising is close to 9 or 10 degrees of Leo, then you are super sun godding out. You're hitting the mark here. My shoulder. That doesn't account for the fact that you also want to leave a legacy behind. So Donald Trump, Leo rising, is thinking of legacy, what he's going to leave behind. I'm not saying you're like Donald Trump. I'm just using a famous person example. Don't get mad at me. But it also connects you to the old, deeper layers here of your character. If this is a Leo rising, this is your simulation avatar character wanting to go deep and leave a legacy. If it's your Leo sun, the legacy and leader and sun god energy is coming from your truer essential spiritual nature. All right. And if it's coming off of your moon, it's how you're thinking and feeling about life and legacy and maybe property, land, and real estate. And so all that Leo energy, you guys, you're really feeling it. But the trine from the house of good fortune opens up positive and lucky energy for you. And the house of windfalls, pennies from heaven, your 11th house, the moon is mirroring that in the house of good fortune. Mercury can represent lottery tickets, tickets of any kind, actually, billets, ballots and billets. So buy a ticket. Know your limit, stay within it, buy a ticket, not 25,000 tickets around the moon. Some of you may come into a feeling of windfall or winning something financially, or in just winning money. Let's keep it simple. I like the energy here of the fact that the winning money is also connected to the nodes of fate in 2 money houses, the earnings house and the chunky money. The north node in the house of chunky money indicates the potential for you winning a chunk of money. All right. And you may let go of making money in a way that doesn't work for you. I don't think this is an inheritance story. I think this is some kind of chunk of money that could give you a financial relief. It could come through anything, though. It could come through courts and judges and justices with Saturn's placement. And you could be getting money through an inheritance, sure, if it's in the court phase, or through spousal separation agreements as well. all said and done, it looks good on that front for you as well. Just expect some unexpected money. Do you have, oh, let me think about you, children? Your children are in the 5th house, and this is particularly activating a second-born child more than a firstborn because of Saturn being engaged, and Saturn's your second-born child. So in this chart, this indicates the idea that you could have a development that's quite positive going on in the life of a second-born child. There is a possibility of karmic grandchildren coming your way from any of your children, not just a second-born, but they might be hiding that they or their partner are pregnant from you, but you'll probably find out about it after this moon, all right, if you have kids. I have a webinar I'm teaching in an hour. This is 4:30. And people start coming into my waiting room at 4:00. I don't know why people don't know how to adjust for their time zone. Mercury, sun, moon, and rising sign. Oh, sorry, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Let's start with the basic premise of a big Antares wealth and success moon connected to the golden-haired goddess of opportunity archetype, Sabian, all shining brightly and big and beautiful in the 4th house of your home, property, real estate, land. Now, the 4th house is legacy wealth from mom and dad. And there's this opening of golden-haired opportunity as well. And of course, Apollonia, the city is named after Apollo. Next to that, well, when I look at the sun god himself flowing in a trine from your 12th house, right, that is auspicious. If there's any chance that you could be looking at money from a father figure connected to legacy wealth. And so some of you are also potentially one of the signs it could be involved in a solar figure, grandparent, great uncle, old elder father, take your pick, delineating as best I can the possibility for coming into inheritance money in the 2 weeks after the moon, or even up to within 6 months after. The full moon is in a legacy wealth house. It is trining an elder in the house of death. And the 12th house often involves hospitals. Okay. There's a feeling, though, if you don't go in that direction, there's a deep rewiring of your spiritual life. Some of you might be thinking in this rewiring of some kind of completion of a karmic cycle connected to addiction, self-undoing. You want to break away from that. You want to leave a legacy that's different than, say, sabotaging, self-undoing, addictive type patterns that ran through your family line. A lot of you Virgos might be cleansing and clearing, right? This is very purging, the South Node through Virgo. So you can release and let go, not just of things in your life that don't work, people, places, jobs, health of your body for the Virgo rising, but also patterns that no longer work. And these patterns that you're purging, releasing, surrendering as the moon bends that South Node are ancestral and family of origin related. And the North Node is expanding your marriage house. So if you're not with somebody, you never know. This could bring a new relationship to you. And especially with this sort of broad trine to Venus in your 11th house, that would be some new love story that could come for Virgos if you're single and you meet that person through friends or groups of belonging or social engagements, most likely. That would be one of the ways I'd see that. I want to also draw lastly your attention to this. The North Node itself means worldly success. If you have any kind of career path that involves clients, customers, audience, and marketplace, and those themes, and if you work from home, then you're going to come into a period of sustained opportunity and success. That's the best I could put it. More career gains, greater money. This moon it anchors it in the home, but this is the career house and this is the home. So more so if you get opportunities to be in the home and professionally succeeding in the home. So if those of you who can work from home full-time or part-time, this brings in you more money and more exposure to your audience and clients that bring greater success. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. It looks like you've got the sky telling you full moon is occurring on the opportunity golden-haired goddess symbol, along with that Antares wealth and fame and power star. Now, Antares in your 3rd house is social media, writing, communicating, teaching, marketing, and selling, and short distance travel. And that's where all the juice is happening. And because it's also reflecting Mercury and the sun Uranus up in the house of good, this gracious house of God, international themes. It looks like you're blowing out in the social media landscape with a big light, basically. And you're sourcing it in a dharmic house of purpose and meaning as well. A lot of you could be writing, publishing here, publishing books, writing books. You could be traveling domestically or internationally for selling or teaching or guiding people. And you've got also Apollo activated here. Now, Apollo, the sun god himself, right over here flowing to this moon, indicates greater career success, more money from your career, more reputation, more awards and rewards are coming your way. And you want to leave a legacy. Your long range goals, plans, and dreams, how you visualize what you're doing on this planet, is 11th house. It's your forward, visionary, imaginal considerations of life and success and career even. So you probably will be looking more clearly off after this moon about what is meaningful, that has legacy value, that you wish to contribute. Varuna is up here, the Hindu god of the oceans. And also you're connected to Apollo, the place where you shine the most brightly in a leaderful way. And it is 11th house, which is a movement maker. Maybe you want to lead a movement. Maybe you've got a message you want to give the world and you want to leave it behind when you're gone, right? Like Martin Luther King and Maria Montessori both have strong placements here. They left something behind, a message, a new educational system, and you're really leaning into what it is you're going to want to leave behind. This is your friendship circles and groups, and these are people who want to help you. A leaderful figure, a powerful leader, Apollo, sun god, may step into your life and want to support you, lead you, or help you, mostly in this chart around professional endeavors, writing and publishing, communicating, marketing, teaching, and selling. So you get a leg up from some very influential influencer or important person who can expose you to a greater audience or a greater amount of reach than you normally have. So that's nice. Yeah. Okay. All right. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Energy wise, the moon is full in a money, earnings, and resources house. It's got Antares for wealth and worldly success. It's got the golden-haired goddess of money, of opportunity in the money house. Apollonia, the city of Apollo. You're shining in the money house, Scorpio. There's an opportunity that wants to come to you May 31st lunation. Look to a few days before and up to 2 weeks after to see for evidence of that in your life. Now, there are lots of ways money and opportunity can emerge in our lives, right? A lot of different ways it can show up. There is a possibility with Pluto in the legacy house of the family of origin and a solar figure in the 8th house of some inheritance money, and with Apollo in the house of the father as well in the system I use, then I'm going to say that you could come into money from a father figure. I probably repeat myself. These themes have been in your chart for a bit of time. On the other hand, if it comes to your career and you want to shine brightly and you want to do something of legacy value in your career, this is a revaluation of your values. This moon will open you up to considering what it is that you have as a value structure around being a successful leader, around leading your way to legacy and importance in your career and reputation so that you leave something behind for the rest of the world. And so your values are under spotlight investigation from this lunation. And with the flow to Saturn and Chiron, by the way, both in your 6th house, where have you felt wounded in livelihood and work paths that haven't really been right for you? You've not felt purposeful in the work you do. You don't feel like you're in alignment, maybe. Even the fallen Saturn here, you're going to work hard for your money and you're not going to know if it's even worth it, right? Juice worth the squeeze at good old 7 of Pentacles. Thanks, Minopon, for that. So I kind of get a vibe here that you are literally probably reflecting on the values you hold about wealth, purpose, career, and work. And realigning. This moon will, in the 6 months that follows this moon, you will realign yourself around that. So funny that my son will be taking maternity leave probably in July, late July, early August. And this will dovetail with the fallout of this moon. There's nothing like maternity leave to give you a perspective on what matters in life and what you might really want to do when you grow up. Okay, let's get going and move. Oh, and the moon bends the nodes of fate. Let go of one source of earning, job, career, success, ambition. Move into the spark of creativity, artistic creativity, and entrepreneurship. The moon can move all of you Scorpios in a new direction in your work. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. The sky is lit with a big full moon in your sign, how are you feeling? Are you like I said in the intro, are you like baby? Do you have your ascendant at 9 degrees of Sag? This moon is at 9 degrees of Sag. And the moon's just moving because we're rotating the chart. But all said and done, then you're going to have a war star on your character in the simulation. Let me know in the comments if you have Antares 9 degrees rising sign. Sun sign, it's your career path. Moon sign, it's your feelings, thinking, and home-based matters. So yeah, if you're born with your moon on Antares at 9 Sag, it's your mother, and you're born with your dad, the sun is there. These are aspects of your life. But all said and done, because don't forget, I told you in the intro, the star's not moving anywhere. It's going 70 years, every 70 years it moves a degree. So if you're born with anything where sun, moon, or rising near 8, 9, or 10 degrees of Sagittarius, you're an Antares person. Okay. So do you have an archer, a bow and archery? Are you big on horses and bows and archery? I mean, where are you with all of that? But anyway, the idea of it is that this can bring you great wealth and fame and glory and power, this star, to your sun, career, purpose, midheaven, your career as well, to your ascendant, your purpose in life, your character in the simulation, and your sun, your deeper purpose, and your moon, how you think and feel. So let's get going. The light is shining on you. It's right on top of you. You're like in the spotlight. That's me in the spotlight. And you're in the spotlight because there's a full moon there. You planted a new moon 6 months ago, back in November, and now it's fulfilling itself in your sign. And this energy is pulling from Uranus and the sun together for the first time in your lifetime in your 7th house. You may be pulling energy from your audience, your marketplace, your fans, or your long-term committed love partner. And with the Mercury story, even how you communicate with all of those people, into a sort of fulfillment and a blossoming of like a rose opening up in your sign with who you are. But you're also asked with the legacy energy, right? Very important. What do you want to leave behind? Apollo says, lead into the field of Dharma. Find your purpose. What is it? Is it spiritual? Is it to guide and mentor people, to be the hand of the king? Is it your purpose and meaningful purpose to be the vice president? Is it your purpose and meaningful purpose to be a work in publishing, to publish a written project, the 9th house has a lot of meanings to educate others or to go into higher educational settings. This moon can push you in all of those directions, but it has to have a deeper legacy meaning where you shine brightly up here in the 9th house of God, right? And technically, because the South Node is being bent and you're here, are you leaving behind a way of operating in your career and your reputation where you no longer want to go in that direction? It's over. It's not for you anymore. It's a little vainglorious or shallow. It doesn't have the meaning you want, because now you're going to pump yourself towards the 4th house, success and worldly success in the home, a change of home to a foreign land or distant place, connections to the family of origin roots, and how you're going to use that energy in order to find a new definition of success. You come from a line of healers or psychics or, I don't know, Masons or something. Not the Masons, but whatever. You want to use that lineage to pull yourself into a more meaningful glory, okay, of identity in this world. With it trying to Saturn in your 5th house, the moon is speaking a lot to finding some enjoyment in what you do and how you do it, some pleasure and inspiration, enthusiasm, and finding the inspiration of the muse as well. A full moon in your sign trining Saturn in the 5th house could be difficulties in the life of one of your children, and they're going through a bit of a hard time, and then you're there to do something, golden-haired goddess of opportunity, maybe offer them the opportunity. Or Saturn can bring you a golden opportunity personally. He's capable of that. It's a very good fortune opportunity, and it may be Saturn ruling your 3rd house, social media, writing, communicating, marketing opportunities, or an opportunity connected to just plain old money. Saturn is a ruler of your 2nd, trining the moon in your 1st. So yeah, a lot going on for you there. Let me know how that rolls out. I think some of you might want to go off and adventure into foreign lands, by the way. based on where that Apollo is, and go off and do a pilgrimage. Apollo, the sun god, the temple of Apollo. I mean, some of you might feel like it's time to go on a pilgrimage, and this could catalyze May 31st, some international travel it's really sourced in a spiritual depth, right? Not just for fun or margaritas kind of thing. Hey, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising, big full moon shining brightly in the sign of Sagittarius in your 12th house of enlightenment, all the way through to the other side, or backroom deals and negotiations, hidden enemies, self-undoing, addictions, bad habits, patterns, and distant lands and shores. Full light, full moon, connected at 9 degrees on Antares. It was at 9 degrees. We moved the chart forward. And there is like a part of you that's always born to find the potential that in a past life you've had fame, glory, wealth, riches, and power at a cost, maybe. This is kind of past lifey for you. And so where have you also maybe been a military star and done military things, right? Where have you been in the militia or in weaponry or doing things with weapons? That's past life stuff. And so you don't want to bring the past life here, but you still can source the lessons of that life. The 12th house could bring those lessons to the forefront on this moon. You almost like have a flashlight into your past lives or karmic endeavors and karmic patterns here. I don't mind this for you because it's illuminating. And with the sun god, his bright light is shining in your 8th house, Apollo in Leo, another one of those houses, and Saturn in the 4th. These are moksha, spiritual awakening houses. This can illuminate, light up, and give you a greater understanding of your spiritual depth. It can open up a legacy value towards your life in terms of, what you want to leave behind for your children, for inheritances for others, whether an inheritance of your ideas or your accomplishments or the legacy of your actual money. Those are factors that come off of this moon as being asked for your consideration. And having Saturn in the 4th house as your home, where you might be feeling isolated, lonely, alone, constrained, constricted, or stuck. And Saturn flows to the 12th house for a shift of awareness around where you're living, a shift of perspective. Been having a chironic wound to home and belonging and homeland. Oh, I don't know, since 2019. That's getting ready to finish in June. I think you might want to consider that you may have some issues with money and debt where the sun is sitting. And you say debt in real estate, debt in home, debt and land, and indebtedness or debt owed to you. And there may be some sun god turning point energy. If someone owes you money who happens to be male, okay, call it as a masculine energy, there may be an opportunity to see the light of that money returning to you. Now, because the moon is full in the 12th house, this is a good moon for getting rid of addictions. This is a good moon for inspecting patterns and habits that are bad for you, especially given that it is sextiling Pluto in the house of what you put in your nose and mouth. And it may open up a new understanding of ancestral patterns of addiction, right, Neptune, that have constrained your ancestral line. You're going to move back past it forever and ever. Amen. The moon is the ruler of your marriage house. There's going to be some changes in long-term committed love stories and coming off this moon. And it may involve shared resources with a partner, land. And if you're in a long-term love story and you're talking about separating, then some of this moon is going to shed light on the karmic elements of separating resources with a long-term partner. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. I am one of you. I have a rising sign here. And we are looking at the energy very strongly, very clearly here of something connected to a full big light in our 11th house of good spirit. The 11th house is where we visualize what we want in the long run. And our wishes belong here. Our desires are here. Things to do with our career in terms of the gains of our career, the money, the resources, the awards, rewards, influence. All of that is very 11th house. So now we have a big full Apollo moon here. It's Apollonia, it's trining Apollo, it's on Antares, wealth, fame, power, glory, success. It also connects us to the golden-haired goddess of opportunity. So it's clearly connected to an opportunity that's about your career expression and the gains of your career. And as this opportunity is arising, it's also flowing to Apollo himself in the 7th house of the audience, the customers, the clients, and the marketplace with legacy values here, Varuna. What do you want to offer the world in terms of the public? 10th, this is 10th from your 10th, that you think has lasting legacy value. Apollo can be a person, a masculine sun god wants to enter your house of marriage and flow to your house of friends. Well, if you're single, you're going to meet an Apollo sun god, which is kind of a magician archetype, I suppose, meets a emperor, maybe. I don't know, or the sun card in the tarot. And you're going to open up a new vista, a new energy of long-term love with a Apollonian sun god figure, someone who's very leaderful in some area of their own life, right? And so if you're looking for a relationship, you're probably going to meet that person through social engagements, groups of belonging, and friends, most likely. This is your social networks. An introduction in the 6 months that follow. Look, of course, to the May 31st date of the lunation and ask yourself, what's that about, right? Apollonia meets Apollo, a masculine and feminine trine. You could meet your person one way or the other, man or woman. Like either or will do. It's all sourced in the house of romantic love, falling in love. And we've got Mercury, phone calls, text messages, and emails, shock and surprise. So yeah, like I'm going to tell you, if you're single, you're going to be shocked and surprised at this moon. And not just the 2 weeks that follow, but even up to 6 months later, could bring you singletons a mate. If you're already mated, that's just fine. But then your partner might be going through a new level of leadership, success, and good fortune in their own life and in their own career gains as well. With your partner having these opportunities that are golden coming their way. The bending of the nodes are important. So basically this moon pulls on the south node here, pulling on old karmic patterns, and even pulling on karmic patterns connected to occult magic, mystery, and paranormal and psychic abilities. Don't forget, Apollo is a prophet. He's the god of prophecy. So premonitions and prophecies, is that a superpower you have? You might pull it into your audience and expose the world to some of that in a very influential way. You might become a prophet or a seer of some sort and use that as a direction for your audience. You could also pull on the energy of the North Node here, and the North Node will expand your earnings, resources, and money off the golden-haired goddess of opportunity moon in the gains of the career. That will lush you up financially, especially given that Jupiter is trining the North Node from the house of work. Okay, so expanding your money scene as well. Good luck with that. I am one of you. We are doing Pluto. How are you doing? You hang in there. Don't forget, we have that gnarly Amycus who threw a candelabra as a weapon in war. So don't throw candelabras at people. Hold back. Use another weapon. Use your words. And I used to tell my kids, use your words. Don't hit. Use your words. Oh my God. Okay, my words are my weapon. I'll tell you what I think. We're going to the Pisces sun, moon, and rising. Eager beavers, 5 people in my waiting room for a webinar that starts in 15 minutes. Some of you have been here for an hour. All right, so it is the Pisces people's moon in the 10th house. It clearly points to golden-haired goddess of opportunity, career success, and luck, connected to Antares, wealth, fame, power, and glory. Ask yourself what is truly right for you. The warning of that goddess of opportunity is also the vain and shallow versions of what the society tells you culturally is important. It's what matters to you. You planted seeds here 6 months ago for career success. Now they're going to really blossom, and for fruitfulness is in your career and reputation zone. Source from things you're doing in and from the home. Mercury, writing, communicating, marketing, teaching, selling from home. Ideas, originality, invention from home. Solar energy from home. Don't panic. Maybe you're in ecstatic creative revelry, another way Pan can work, sort of like Dionysus, and in and from your home. And you're fortifying career success. And Apollonia is up here, the feminine version of Apollo. So Apollo is in your 6th house of work and livelihood. So quite clearly, some of you are making some significant job, work, livelihood steps that make you feel like a leader in your field, a leader amongst your staff, a leader amongst your colleagues and coworkers, but you want to leave a legacy. You're asking, does it matter when I'm gone? Do I leave something through work and career and earnings that has value? You've been wounded in the earnings house since 2019. That's about to change. You're looking for value, meaning, legacy, And then your earnings are going to stabilize, says Saturn, and they're going to be steadfast, perseverant, and enduring over time. Look for that stabilization, that rhythm and routine to earnings, but know that you're becoming a leader with a value for legacy in the work you're doing in this world. You want to leave a bright, sparkly moon behind in the 10th house for all to see, that you have left something important in your life behind you. There's a turning point towards the value of what you're doing rather than the money alone. And then you're going to notice that you're bending the nodes of fate. Well, you're not bending them, the moon is. And so quite possibly you're going to release, surrender, and let go of an attachment to a clientele, an audience, a marketplace, or a long-term love relationship or business partnership, releasing and surrendering it, rising high to the bright light at the top of the sky, getting public recognition, maybe some public appeal and popular appeal, and also activating your own personal sun, career, moon, nest and home based, and rising character simulation, avatar, worldly success. You're all coming into increase of worldly success in the sky that's visible. People notice you being successful. All right. It's not undercover. People see you doing it, and people notice you being successful. If you're shy about being in the big high noon public sky, don't be. Lean into it. This is a very destined time of your life, and success is trying to find you. This could just be like a dream job, right? Something like that. But whatever it is, it's deeper than that. It's got the sun god for leader energy, even to the point where someone in the colleague, coworker space may support you, like the boss or the director or the manager above you may want to boost you to higher levels of success. And all you have to do, Pisces, is say yes. All you have to do is say yes. All right, that's what I got for you. Don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. I'm trying to hide from the wind on my microphone. I'm trying to hide behind my fireplace here. Don't forget, everything about me is in the description box below. Check out everything down there. I have a big party going on. Code CELEBRATE, all caps, where you can get 40% off all the courses I've ever taught. Forgot to pitch it in the beginning of the video. Well, who cares? Check everything about me in the description box below. Members only content here. Patreon community gets everything early access ad free. Got to go teach a webinar.